Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Alex Johnson. I'm the president of Plano West Rotary Club. And to kick off our meeting, I'm going to turn it over to our temporary Sergeant of Arms and extraordinary past president, Michelle Fortin. Take it away, Michelle.
Cool. I'm excited. So since we have a lot of new people, we're going to do this thing called brags. They used to be brag bucks when we met in person and you had to put $1 in, but now they're free. So you can basically you can brag about your job, your family, kids, hobbies, whatever you want to brag about. So we're gonna go around and let everybody have a chance to brag. And I know Zane's always helping us get things going. So I'll start somewhere else. I'm going to start with, oh gosh, everybody's LaShawn, since you're not new and you know how this works, I'm going to start with you.
Everybody, okay, I'm sure y'all are so tired of hearing about my granddaughter, but yesterday was her first day back at school and we were a little concerned because of the different ways that they have to interact. She went in there, she took charge, she's doing good, she's having fun and glad to be back with her friends. And I'm glad that my daughter-in-law gets to rest a little bit. So that's my brag.
Wonderful. Thank you. See, it's easy, everybody. Everybody can do it. So Lisa, do you have a brag today?
Yeah, I have a big brag. Last Thursday was North Texas Giving Day. And as most of you know, I'm interim executive director for a nonprofit called A Small Miracle Foundation, which provides childcare for families going through cancer treatment. And we set a goal for 3,000 and we raised 8,300.
Wow.
Due to a big donation by a local lady who is big into, she's Letta Hill. Do y'all know who she is? I didn't know who she was. I had to look her up. But anyhow, she is a big donor all around in all kinds of nonprofits around Dallas. So we were super excited.
Wonderful.
So, yay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Pandora, it's so good to see you after
Pandora.
you helped us last Saturday. Would you like to do a brag for us today? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, there. There we go. Is it on mute now?
No, you're good.
You're good now.
All right, good. Well, I'm just happy to be part of what you guys are doing, and it was really nice to be able to come over the weekend and be able to serve the community. I think what everyone is doing together, that's amazing because the community always needs it. So, like all the people who are contributing to this, I hope they know whatever they're doing in, taking the time to do this very important. And yes, I'm just happy to be a member. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pandora. Okay, Andrea, I'm going to come up to you.
Well, I've got news. My niece, who I'm not sure if I've ever brought her to one of your meetings, but she is playing volleyball. She got a scholarship as a freshman to play volleyball at TWU. And they get to have a season, so that's great news. And they've moved it back. They're not going to do any non-conference play, but they have moved it back and they're about to start having their first match, I think, next week. So we're thrilled. She already had her senior high school year kind of botched thanks to COVID. And I'm glad that her first year playing in college isn't going to be messed up for her too. So we're real excited about that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, these are crazy times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lindsay, would you like to go next? There we go.
I get to do a brag?
Yes.
Okay. Both my kids came home. They've been in school now, I think 2.5 weeks here in McKinney, and they both came home and they were super excited. They both won like dance parties because their classes, they've been doing all kinds of like little nice things at school and apparently have earned what they call dojo points. So they were very excited and they're pumped because they're having dance parties. So they love doing that too at school. They're kindergarten and second grade. So I was really proud of them. I said, good job, guys.
That's awesome. So what does dojo mean? Or
I don't even know. I mean, they change it up every year. They have like a different certificate. Like for 2 years in a row, it was grit points. Like if you showed grit and you were out there helping others and being kind and just being a leader for your classmates. And so I'm glad that they're all about that. So
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Gosh, I was going to try to do this in order so I don't miss anybody. So, oh, what?
I have the names too.
Oh, okay. Hina and Aziz, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. I know you're going to be joining our club. Do you guys have any brags today?
Yes, you want to go ahead first?
Well, I've been working on my weight loss and walking every morning since past almost 8 days now. So, you know, that's what I feel like that I have a right to brag about.
Wonderful.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Alex, for inviting us. It's I know we kind of missed the last Saturday. There are certain things in plan, so we could not come. But yeah, my brag is I've been helping a friend through a business jam. So I think things are getting to a positive side now. So I'm kind of like happy that I was able to do that. So yeah, kind of happy about that.
Great, great. Well, welcome and good to see your face. Okay, moving on here. Let's go with Roger. You got a brag for us today, Roger?
Yeah, I want to brag on all my grandchildren. These guys are all doing online school and they're all doing really well. And man, I just can't imagine people with young children having to go through this. So good luck to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Roger. Randall, would you like to give us a brag?
Sure. I guess I'll go along with the theme of the bragging on children today. My kids seem to be doing well in school, getting back into the routine of everything despite COVID and doing really well in that. And I guess the secondary brag just on my son, he's still 20/20 vision, which is saving me a ton of money. I'm not having to buy glasses or contacts for him yet. He's eating me out of house and home because he's 14 years old and we're going through gallons of milk like crazy. But, you know, he's doing well on the vision, so I'm going to brag on him for that. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Okay, Dolly, I've got you next on my screen. You're on mute. You're still on mute. There we go. Well, I'm sorry. Can anybody else hear her? No, we can't hear you. All right. Why don't we come back to you if you in a minute? Okay, David. Oh, was that her?
Yeah.
Say something. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, you can hear?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to brag on Douglas Vision's tutoring program. We just started that yesterday. So we have another session today. Hopefully it is slow running right now, but we know once the word gets out, we'll start having a bunch of kids come. So we're really excited about that.
That's awesome. That's a great program. How many people do you have?
Well, initially, when we did the backpack sign up or giveaway, we had about 40 children sign up, and we're just waiting for the parents to start bringing them. So hopefully we'll be off and running. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who's next? Joy.
Okay, well, I'll go against the norm. I usually brag about my kids and my granddaughter, but I want to brag on my staff today. We've seen at the Wellness Center, we've seen quite a few of our clients come in and their health and mental state is just completely deteriorating before our eyes because of being isolated due to COVID. And so my staff is rallying together, part of it with Michelle to try to create some service project there. But we're just really trying to do everything we can to reach out to our clients and give them that interaction and some positive outlook and what's going on. So that's it.
Well, way to go. We need organizations like the Wellness Center helping out with that. So thank you. David, would you like to go? David next. Evans?
Well, Dolly stole my brag. I was actually I was gonna brag on the tutoring program, but she didn't mention Jenny, so I get a part of it. So Jenny's over the online Zoom tutoring, and from my understanding, it went on without a hitch. So, yay to Jenny and all of her organization, and she got about 20 students to help tutor the other students from the National Honor Society. Jenny did. So we want to just brag on our members for helping, these kids that may need those resources. And of course, Dolly and Jenny did, they're stepping up to the plate. So, just yay for them. And then last Saturday was great. What are you going to say, Alex? You're correct.
I was going to say, you're talking about Jenny Orth, our member Jenny Orth, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. Thank you, David. Okay, Fred and Tamra, you guys have any brags for us today?
Well, I just said, thank God I'm still in the land of the living.
Yeah.
This is the first weekend. No, I take that back. We have shoe drive weekend. I was about to say the first weekend I've had in a long time that I'll be able to be free, but anyway, I'm just glad to be feeling well and to be here today. And I want to welcome Hina and Aziz. Love them so much. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Tamara and Fred. Benton.
Oh, I will be glad to brag on Aretha, who I worked with at the food distribution on Saturday.
Yep.
She was short of stature, but that's about the only hindrance I could see. I kept telling her, let me carry the big boxes up to the porch, and man, she wasn't having it after it. And it was really fun to serve with her. Sweet lady.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Benton. Okay, Piper. Would you like to do a brag?
Sure, I'd love to. And thanks for having us today. So my son is a senior, which, as I think Andrea Thompson alluded to, I know last year's senior year was kind of botched for everybody. So we've been crossing our fingers for this year. So he's in the band, and they're supposed to have senior appreciation night in November. So they've gone ahead and bumped it up. So we get to do it this week, and we get to go out on the field with them. And I'm just super proud of them. And I'm happy that having a somewhat normal senior year. So I'm just really excited to be able to enjoy that with him on Thursday night. And so that's about it.
That's wonderful. That's great that the schools are trying to find ways that we can still do some of the things kids want to do.
Amen. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Andrea Buressa, would you like to welcome? Would you like to brag?
That was great on the first try. Yes, I would love to. I guess I'll stay with the theme of celebrating all of the great news from our schools. I've got a 5th grader and a kindergartner, and my kindergartner was a little bit nervous about going to the great big elementary school this year. And we spent the summer getting her prepared to walk to class with Big Sister. And because of all the things in place, Big Sister wasn't allowed to walk her to class. And so I'm just going to brag on my kindergartner a little bit for being brave enough and bold enough to walk down and actually find her class, because I'll tell you, those first few days I wasn't sure she was going to make it.
Yeah.
I just think kudos to the kids for being, willing to adapt to all of these curveballs that we've thrown at them, and still just, charge right into that school and do all of the things they're being asked to do. I think it's a real testament to their resilience.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. We're almost out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and get our guests. So I'm sorry for the rest of the members here. So Tom, would you like to give us a brag?
Sure. Thanks for having us. I'm not going to brag on my kids because we were having a hard time waking up in the mornings. So I will brag on myself that I got an Alexa, and when I tell her to make an announcement, play Reveille in the morning to get my kids up, then it works really, really well. You can play Reveille throughout your entire house, wake everybody up. So that's kind of how that plays out.
That's awesome. That is creativity. Thank you.
That's
Very
from
good.
our military guy. So that's what you get when you have a military dad.
That's awesome. Okay, so there's somebody on my screen, and before they were named they're named Rotary, but I'm not thinking that's your first name.
Hey, Michelle, I think we're out of time.
Oh, okay. Oh, she just went in. Okay.
Michelle, thank
All right.
you very much for running Brags, and I want to thank everybody who's joining our call. What I'd like to do now is turn it over to Tamara, that's going to lead us in prayer.
Let's bow our heads in prayer. Father, we just thank you today. We give you all the glory and the honor and the praise for just being who you are. We thank you because it's in you we live and move and have our being. We pray for our club meeting today, and we welcome you to move in our hearts and minds so that we become the servants you have created us to be. Thank you for our guest judges, and we ask that you bless them for taking the time out to be with us on today in servitude. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Now I'd like to turn it over to Dolly, who's going to lead us in the pledge, and we can look at the Thornton screen for the flag.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dolly. All right, what I'd like to do is turn this over to Randall, and he's going to tell us a little bit about foundation points.
Yes, thank you, Alex. I would like to extend a little bit of the brag session that we had earlier. I know that we have ended that, but I want to brag on Joy Hinkleman and Jennifer Orr, as well as myself. I'm going to put myself in there because I turned in mine. But you should have all received by email by now a Foundation Points tracker sheet where you can basically just fill in any activities you've done and also any of your participation in the club on just a simple Excel spreadsheet and just hand it back in to me. I think we had the original deadline for this Friday, but I'll take them at any time, midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning, whenever you're up and want to do these. I promise you it won't take you more than about 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Again, our goal is to get everyone as a Paul Harris Fellow during this time. So please take a few minutes and just fill it out for us and get it back to me so we can track those points and get them into the system. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Randall. All right, well, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead, we have a number of guests. We spend a few minutes going over club business. Our club is nonstop doing stuff all the time. So you'll get to hear a little bit about what our club is doing. But before that, the most important thing that our club can do, which is the most exciting thing, is we vote for new members. So we have 3 applicants that have been reviewing our club, serving with us, attending our meetings over the last couple weeks, and now we are going to vote. So obviously, we're going to use Zoom. Our members know we vote using the Zoom poll function. So if you're not a member, don't vote. So we are voting for, I saw Sashimo pop up. I didn't know he was going to be able to make this meeting, so that's awesome. We're going to be voting for Sashimo Kalinda, Aziz Kanjiani, and Hina Kanjiani. So everybody take a look at their screens, and I'm going to launch it now. Awesome. I'm going to take it down in a couple seconds, so hurry up and click. But I believe we have a unanimous vote for Aziz, Hina, and Sashimo. So congratulations for being voted into our club. And next, once again, our guest, but like I said, this is the most important thing we do for our club. And we are just growing by leaps and bounds. Andrea will relate because I know she's a Rotarian, a Plano Metro Rotary Rotarian. We have added 21 new members in the last 3 months. And so it's very exciting. And that's because people want to serve. So what we do, I don't agree in group inductions. I think that belittles the lifetime induction into Rotary, because Rotary is for life. So we do an individual induction for each member. So I'm really glad that you guys get to be a part of this. So I'm doing this in order of application. So first person I want to call up and I'm going to be talking to is, let me make sure he's still on. Sashima, are you still on? I see you. There we go. Or I see your square. So Sashima Kalinda, you have been proposed for membership and the club has elected you. Therefore, it is my pleasure to induct you into the Rotary Club of Plano West. I understand you are aware of Rotary's requirements and will follow them. You have offered your services to assist your fellow Rotarians in their community and international projects. As you know, Rotary is a service club, each member performing what Rotary terms as service above self. Besides service, you will have the benefit of powerful bonds of friendship with fellow Rotarians locally and worldwide. I especially commend to your attention the object of Rotary and the four-way test, which form the criteria for Rotarians in their daily lives. When you travel, you have a special opportunity to attend Rotary meetings and meet Rotarians throughout the world. This is another rewarding benefit to your membership. And now, by the power vested in me as president of the Rotary Club of Plano West, I pin this emblem on you virtually and declare you to be an active member of this Rotary Club. Welcome to Rotary, Sashima. We look forward to the enrichment of our lives and your own by your association with the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization, Rotary International.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for serving with us and joining us. We look forward to doing a lot more service projects with you.
Thank you very much. You will.
Oh, okay, well, next is the next who's filled in an application. Once again, I usually like doing ladies first, but I'm doing this in order of applications. So, Aziz, I'm looking at you now, right there. Aziz Kanjiani, you have been proposed for membership by Camille Loveless. I want to go ahead and point that out. And the club has elected you. Therefore, it is my pleasure to induct you to the Rotary Club of Plano West. I understand you are aware of Rotary's requirements and will follow them. You have offered your services to assist your fellow Rotarians in their community and international projects. As you know, Rotary is a service club, each member performing what Rotary terms as service above self. Besides service, you have the benefit of powerful bonds of friendship with fellow Rotarians locally and worldwide. I especially commend to your attention the object of Rotary and the four-way test, which form the criteria for Rotarians in their daily lives. When you travel, you have the special opportunity to attend Rotary's meetings and meet Rotarians throughout the world. This is another rewarding benefit of your membership. And now, by the power vested in me as president of the Rotary Club of Plano West, I pin this Rotary emblem on you and declare you an active member of this Rotary Club. Welcome to Rotary. We look forward to the enrichment of our lives and your own by your association with the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization, Rotary International.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Honored to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we appreciate your service. For those that don't know, everybody that joins our club, they started off serving with our club. So we've already met them. We've done sweat equity with them. So it's a real honor that they chose to join us afterwards and continue our service projects. Now, last but not least, Hina, usually I do ladies first. So, which is really cool because Hina was recruited by her husband, Aziz. So that makes our our fourth married couple in our club. So this is really exciting. We are becoming a couples club. Maybe Roxana will get her husband in. You guys don't know Roxana yet. She's the one that says Rotary on her window. All right, Hina. Aziz proposed you for membership and the club has elected you. Therefore, it is my pleasure to induct you to the Rotary Club of Plano West. I understand you are aware of Rotary's requirements and will follow them. You have offered your services to assist your fellow Rotarians in their community and international service projects. As you know, Rotary is a service club, each member performing what Rotary terms as service above self. Besides service, you'll have the benefit of powerful bonds of friendship and fellow Rotarians locally and worldwide. I especially commend to you your attention, the object of Rotary, and the four-way test, which form the criteria for Rotarians in their daily lives. When you travel, you have the special opportunity to attend Rotary meetings and meet Rotarians throughout the world. This is another rewarding benefit of your membership. And now, by the power vested in me as the president of the Rotary Club of Plano West, I will pin this emblem, this Rotary emblem on you and declare you an active member of this Rotary Club. Welcome to Rotary. We look forward to the enrichment of our lives and your own by your association with the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization, Rotary International. Yay!
Thank you.
It never gets old for me to induct new members. And the new members are what makes our club so vibrant and just allows us to make a difference in the community. So thank you for the three of you for choosing to join our family and serving with us. So now, before we start off, bring our special guest, which we have a number of special guests, I want to make some announcements. One, great job on the waivers. Of the 42 waivers that we need for our club members, I only have 4 left. So that's awesome. I will continue hounding those 4 until we sign those, get those waivers signed. One thing I wanted to point out, Glenn had reminded me, Club Runner is our internal database, and there's an iPhone app. So if you download the Club Runner app and use your membership, you will be able to get your membership logins. You'll be able to get access to all the contact information for our members. It's because everybody's always asking me and Glenn. Well, it's on the website, on the internal side. You could also just download Club Runner. So CLUBRUNNER. Go in the App Store, download it, and you'll have everybody at your fingers. 2 or 3. Glenn had sent out our weekly newsletter yesterday, so everybody received it. In it, we had a request from the Plano East Rotary Club. They are putting on their annual Flags of Honor, of which our club is going to be supporting them. We're going to be handling the takedown of all the flags. It's going to be in June. But what they're wanting to know, and this is where I need your help, they need to know if we have any veterans or first responders that are members of our club, because they want to honor you with the flag. Doesn't cost you anything. We just need to have your information. So you could either email me or Glenn, let us know. And I'd love to get somebody in our club that would step up and say, you will take charge of getting a hold of all 42 of our members and finding out who are vets or who are first responders, so that way they can be honored. So if you want, send me a text or email, let me know, because we definitely want to make sure we honor all our club members. Next, Third Thursday was last week. Thank you for everybody that participated. I don't know the results of it, but remember the third Thursday of every month, when you buy, order out, take out from Greek Isles, they will donate 15% to the Rotary Foundation. So definitely do that. I also want to talk about our meal delivery project on Saturday. That was awesome. We had 32 volunteers. From memory, I believe we served 200 families with $24,000 in meals from Minnie's Food Pantry. So great job, everybody. Continue to sign up for that. It's a lot of fun. And we had a number of our new members there. Pandora, she called me on Friday to ask about our Rotary Club, and she showed up on Saturday to volunteer. So thank you, Pandora. She's on the call. I also want to talk about makeups. Even though we don't require our meetings, I am proud of the fact that we have the highest meeting attendance in District 5810. Well, it could be higher because when you attend a service project, that counts as a makeup. And almost everybody in our club is serving. So just email Glenn that you served a service project. And if you happen to miss this meeting or you didn't watch it on a rerun on Facebook or YouTube, that'll count as a makeup. Honestly, we'd probably be at 90% attendance if we count everybody's service projects. So let's do that. I like you guys know, I want our club to be #1 in the Dallas area, which we already are, so we want to continue. No offense, Andrea. Now, I want to talk about our upcoming projects. Then I'm going to finally be quiet. As our guests will have figured out, we do a lot of service. And so I want to point out to everybody on October 6th, not only is the Plano Fire Chief going to be our guest speaker, but we are doing our Fire Rescue Appreciation Day. So remember, we're serving meals to all 133 Fire Rescue Department employees in Plano. We still need, I think, 3 more drivers. We need volunteers to donate items for the gift baskets, and then donations. If you know somebody that want to donate to help us with that cause, we definitely need donations. So help for all of that. I also want to make sure everybody tells their friends to clean out their closets for our shoe drive. I don't even know the number, but last time I heard, I think we were up to 600-700 shoes. And so I think our goal is 2,000, so we're getting there. And then on Saturday, we are having another service project where we are going to be organizing the donated shoes over the last 2 weeks. A lot of our high school clubs are there. Actually, they won't be this Saturday because they have an event. So we need people to sign up for that on Saturday. And last but not least, we have our Junior Achievement Career Talks. More people need to sign up for this. It's a 30-minute virtual commitment. Basically, you're going to be giving from kindergarten to high school students talks about career or college as kind of a way of giving them some virtual advice. I'd like to see more people sign up for that. The slots are between now and November. And so you pick when you want to do it. Junior Achievement provides you all the information. So come on, people, we got to help these kids out because we have a lot of great entrepreneurs, career people that can really give good advice to these students. So with all that, we're done with the club business. And now for what we all really came for. I'm going to introduce our guest speakers. Now, Andrea said, well, we don't need a formal introduction. We're going to introduce ourselves. So, but this is what I do want to do. She did share with me something. So I want to share with everybody. So you guys can see it, right? Yes. All right. Well, these are all our Collin County judges. Now, Andrea committed she would have every single one here. No, she did not. She's like, I said the opposite, Alex. But she definitely did get a lot. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my longtime friend, Andrea, and let you introduce your fellow judges.
Awesome, thank you. I think what we're going to do is maybe take turns. So our courts all have a number. We're going to go in numerical order. You'll learn more about what those numbers mean in a minute, but we'll go through first. I think numerically, our first judge is Judge Novak.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Novak. I am the judge of the 366th District Court. We'll talk about that in a minute, as Andrea already said. I was actually an immigrant to the United States at a young age from a communist country, so I grew up living here, but kind of experienced both life here and elsewhere, so I'm very grateful for the things that we have. I'm also a Rotarian up here in McKinney. I'm in the Air Force part-time in the reserves, and I've been your judge of the 366 since last October when I was appointed. Prior to that, I was a criminal defense lawyer, and prior to that, I was a prosecutor. And so I love being in the courtroom. I love doing the work that we're doing, and I thank y'all for having us here today.
All right, so I'm the 416th. That puts me next numerically. I'm Andre Thompson. As Alex said, I'm a member of Plano Metro Rotary. I've also served a couple years as your district secretary. So if you haven't ever taken the opportunity to get involved at the district level with Rotary, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to meet people from around our area. And there are a lot of jobs that aren't a huge time commitment over and above kind of what you're used to doing with Rotary anyways. And I'm a past president of Plano Metro. So I've always loved being with other Rotarians. As I said, my court is the 416th. It's a general jurisdiction court, so I hear civil, family, and criminal cases. You'll learn a little bit more about kind of what the division of work is amongst our courts. Some of us hear everything, some of us really zero and target in on a specific area. I've been on the bench for 4 years. Before that, I served as the district clerk for Collin County, and I got the fun task of making our courthouse electronic. So you know how much everybody loves technology. I got to take a bunch of lawyers who aren't so great at doing this stuff themselves and get them to start doing things electronically. And I'm so glad they made it past that learning curve a couple years ago, because now we have moved to doing things almost completely electronically for the last couple of months. And we were only able to do that because our judges and our bar and all our departments at Collin County worked really hard a couple of years ago to move all of our filings to electronic filings and electronic cases. So we weren't trying to bring carfuls of files home to the judge's house during the pandemic. We've been able to do that all remotely. So we're excited to share a little bit more about that with everybody. I think, let's see, next we have Judge Wynn numerically.
Hi, I'm Judge Lindsay Wynn of the 468 District Court. I'm one of your newest judges. I was appointed last year, and I have a family and CPS court. So it's family only and our child protective services cases. Prior to that, I did practice family law for some time. And then prior to that, I actually served in your Collin County District Attorney's Office as a prosecutor for nearly 10 years. And while I was there, I did a lot of the crimes against children. I worked in our juvenile division, our family justice division. My real focus, though, was always wanting to, I love protecting children and advocating for them. And that's why I wanted to go into family law, so I could better advocate for children in their home life and what was happening at home. I absolutely love what I'm doing. I'm actually a Frisco High School graduate, so I do have some local roots. And then my husband and I both live here, and we are raising our children here in McKinney. And he was also a prosecutor at the DA's office for nearly 11 years, and now he serves as one of the assistant U.S. attorneys. So he's still here serving, and so we appreciate your time, though, and letting us come here today.
All right, Judge McCraw.
Thank you for having us. My name is Piper McCraw, and I am also a fellow Rotarian, belong to the Plano Sunrise Rotarian Club. So anyway, great to see all of you. Like Judge Wynn, I preside over a specialized family court. So it's the 469th District Court. Again, it's all family and CPS cases. I will tell you that's where my passion is. I'm proud to be one of only 27 attorneys in the entire state of Texas that's board certified in both family law and child welfare law. So that's really where my focus and my dedication is. Protecting families dealing with domestic violence, also children with child abuse, child neglect, and things of that nature, which has been a huge issue during COVID time, with people being quarantined and isolated from others. So I will tell you, I grew up in Plano. I went through all the Plano schools, graduated from Plano East, and I'm happy to still be living within the Collin County area. And happy to see all of y'all. We'll talk with you a little bit more about everything we've been doing, but we've been working hard for everybody in Collin County and trying to keep things safe with court cases as well as safe within homes in the community. So thank you for having us.
Okay, now I saw some cheering for Plano East. I'm a Plano senior high grad. Do we have any?
No.
Yeah? Okay. Now, Judge Baressa.
Thank you. And thank y'all so much for inviting us to be here. It's just such a pleasure. I'm Andrea Baressa. Michelle, you nailed my last name. I'm super impressed. I am the judge of the 471st District Court, which was created by the Texas legislature just last year. So I've been on the bench since September 1st of last year. It was one of the 2 courts that was added to Collin County in response to the incredibly rapid growth that we have had with our population. Because there was such a surge in family and civil law case filings, the legislature saw fit to create one court dedicated to family cases, which is Judge Wynn's court, and then my court prioritizes civil cases, and it's actually the first and only district court in the county that prioritizes civil cases. And if you're not familiar with what that means, it's a very large umbrella. The civil district court hears everything from personal injury to breach of contract, employment claims, securities litigation, property disputes, business disputes. It's a very wide range of cases. And that's the background that I came from was in commercial and civil litigation. So I've been on the bench for just over a year, and I've been doing Zoom hearings for almost half that time. So you could say it's not the first year on the bench that I imagined, but it's been a really wonderful experience, a very rewarding experience, and I'm looking forward to getting to share with you guys a little bit more about what we do. I'll turn it back over to Judge Thompson.
Okay, Alex, if I can screen share, then we'll show you a presentation. We've got some slides here that give you a little more detail. We're going to go through them kind of quick because I want to make sure we have time to save at the end for some questions. Okay, let me make sure we're starting on our slides. Judge Baressa, do you want to start us off with our court structure?
Absolutely. So Texas has a fairly traditional court structure with a couple of exceptions. The first would be the thing that you'll notice at the very top of the chart. Texas actually has two Supreme Courts. What's generally called the Supreme Court of Texas actually hears all civil, juvenile, family appeals. We separately have a Court of Criminal Appeals, which is the Supreme Court for cases that are coming through that are criminal cases. Beneath our Supreme Courts, we have the intermediate courts of appeals. There are 14 appellate and intermediate appellate courts across the state of Texas. Those courts are not specific to any particular case type. So all of the appeals that start in the district courts and county courts travel through those intermediate courts on their way up to the Supreme Court and the Court of Criminal Appeals. The exception to that would be our capital cases, which go straight from the trial court to the Court of Criminal Appeals. One other difference about our appellate courts is that our courts of appeals take every appeal that comes to them, but the Supreme Court has discretionary authority, meaning the Supreme Court doesn't grant review in every single case that gets appealed. And so what that means is that the decisions of the district courts and the courts of appeals are most often going to be the final word. So we are all judges at the district court level, which is our state trial court level, but there are also county courts, justice courts, and municipal courts that also resolve disputes. The justice courts generally are for lower dollar civil cases, small claims. Municipal courts handle some misdemeanors that are punishable only by a fine. And then our county courts are trial courts with limited authority over civil and criminal cases. If a case starts in a justice court or a municipal court, it actually has to get appealed first to the county level courts before it can travel up through the remainder of the Court of Appeals. So in that way, our county level courts function as a dual function. They're a trial court, but they also provide a second, it's called a de novo trial, basically starting over trial if anyone appeals from a decision from a justice court or municipal court. So that's sort of the structure of our judicial system. As of this September, some of the jurisdictional limits have changed. So for instance, our justice courts and our county courts can now hear more claims than what they had jurisdiction over previously. So if you have a claim that's up to $20,000 in value, or up to $20,000 in controversy, that's a claim that can now be brought in the justice courts and in the county courts, which is a new change that the legislature recently made. Anything else, Judge Thompson, that you wanted to touch on here?
No, I think that's a great overview. Thank you. Let's have Judge Novak talk a little bit about our exploding population. Get this to advance for us. There we go.
All right, so much like the exploding population of your Rotary Club, we have a lot of people moving into the area and causing us to have some issues with the population. And some of the things that we deal with obviously are directly tied to that. So this little graph here basically kind of is just projecting kind of how far out we'll be. If you see down there at the bottom at around 2010, they're expecting 1.2 million people living in Collin County. We'll get the final numbers from our census here in a few months, but we're expected to be over 1 million and probably closer to 1.1 million in terms of our population here in Collin County. And that, of course, with that comes a lot of growth, a lot of excitement, a lot of new things getting built, a lot more restaurants, a lot more traffic, and it also means a lot more cases for our courts. So this graph here shows you kind of the trend that we've been going all the way from back about 2006. And you see as we got to about 2015, 2014 timeframe, where we really exploded in growth in Collin County, and the cases just went up from there. So the courts, we've expanded the courts. We'll hear a little bit about that in just a second, but the number of courts that we have hearing all these cases. And then these numbers went through about 2019, and there you see the projections of 2020 and beyond of where we expect the case levels to be for all of our courts and how much work we're doing at the courthouse. So though not everybody has a call down to the courthouse for jury duty or a case themselves, you guys involved with business disputes and involved in various nonprofits and things like that, you're going to have those issues come up more and more as we get more and more people here in Collin County. And so either way, we'll be seeing you down at the courthouse soon enough.
Okay, we're going to let Judge Wynn cover our total cases and what kind they are and how we're disposing of them.
So as you see on the chart on the left is our new cases that were added in 2019. So it was for the entire year. We do a pie chart just so you can get an idea of how many cases we're dealing with and the types of cases we're dealing with. So as you can see, a big piece of the pie is our family law cases, which is our divorces, child custody, child support, enforcement, making up over 10,000 of our case filings, a little over, or right at 40%. So we have quite a few of those, hence the reason we now have 3 specialty courts just committed to family law matters. Right below that, you can see that CPS matters take up about 1% or 193 cases. I will say, just like Judge McCraw was talking about the importance of those cases, I mean, those are when children are truly removed from a home situation. The department has come in because they are fearful of those children's safety and welfare in that home. Those cases do tend to last a long time. They require a lot of attention, a lot of courtroom time, because we can't afford to have our children, the children that are in the department's care. We have to make sure that they're being monitored and watched, and everybody's getting their due process in court. I will tell you, I mean, just to give you an idea, I just recently had an adoption from a CPS case, and it was so sweet, but they had been in the system for over 660 days. It had been a long time. So it was just such a rewarding experience to finally have an adoption. But that gives you an idea that some of those cases, they take a lot of time and attention. We also have our civil matters, which is a little less than 5,000 cases, but make up about 18%. As you can imagine, that was just in 2019. You can see the growth, all the businesses that are coming. Obviously, with increased population, you have increased, disputes over contracts, money, car accidents, things like that. So there was definitely a need to add our additional court with Judge Baressa so she could hear civil only matters. We have our civil criminal proceedings, which make up about 10%. And those are, when someone is incarcerated, they're in jail, and they need to have a hearing about their bond or their bond conditions. Obviously, we have to address those very quickly when somebody's liberty is on the line. And so they do make up about 10%. But again, it takes up a lot of our judges' time that do general jurisdiction to make sure those matters are heard quickly and efficiently. And then we also have our criminal matters. And the criminal matters for our district courts are the felony offenses. So everything from your aggravated felonies, some of your larger drug cases, robberies, burglaries, up to murder, capital murder. As you can see, that's about a little over 7,000 cases just last year alone, so about 27% of our case filings. And again, those take up a lot of our time, and that's where you see the most. We have a lot of jury trials, we have a lot of hearings. Again, when anybody's liberty is on the line, we have to make sure that that is being addressed quickly and efficiently. And then lastly, in the pie here, we have the juvenile cases, which is about 4%. And juvenile matters are when children ages 10 to 16 are charged with a criminal offense. And although they have the same criminal offenses as adults do, the rules are slightly different for the kids. They go to a different facility. They go to a juvenile detention facility. They are entitled to see a judge every 2 weeks while they are there. Those cases are expected and required to move very quickly because, again, the purpose in a juvenile matter is to address the problem, try to rehabilitate those kids so that they don't become adult offenders later in life. So we are working that again, it seems like a small section, but again, it requires a lot of time, and we have Judge Wheelis is typically committed to almost all of those cases there at the courthouse. We put the disposition pie chart right next to the new cases added, so you can get an idea. We have all these new cases coming in 2019, but you can see just how many we are disposing of in 2019. We are working hard to make sure that we keep up with the pace in which the cases are being filed. And so as you can see, the family law cases were being disposed at 42%, or a little over 10,639 cases. Our civil cases, again, disposed right at 18%. The civil criminal cases, 11%, our criminal cases at 25%, and our juvenile cases were disposed at a 3% rate, or at 3% for the total pie here, or 878 cases. So again, despite the amount of time all of these matters are taking in the courtroom, we are, again, working very hard to address the fact that we know we have a lot of cases coming in, we know our population's increasing, but we also understand the need to be able to serve our community and get those matters heard timely and efficiently.
Okay. Along the lines of what Judge Wynn was just explaining, part of the difficulty we have is with the growth in the county, the number of cases we get every year keeps increasing. So we have 23 to 24,000 cases every year. That means next year we're going to have 24,000 cases as well, probably more with the way the population is expanding. So the trouble we have is, how do we give everybody a fair amount of time and still not make them wait forever? So the only options that a judge has in trying to handle the docket and the volume of cases they're getting is to put some reasonable limitations on time, have some docketing control measures. We do things like limited time for the very initial family court hearing. So a temporary order, for instance, we limit that to 40 minutes in a family court case. Collin County lawyers are used to it. When I was a family law practitioner and practiced in Collin County, I could get it done in 40 minutes. It's just part of the practice, because when you weigh that, our only other option is to give everybody all the time in the world that they want to hear everything, but it's going to take us twice as long, if not longer, to get to things. So just to give you kind of an idea of what that looks like and what we're constantly trying to balance, is this slide here. If we have about 2,000 cases per court, and I can tell you that's a minimum, in the months right before we added our two most recent new courts, we were up to almost 2,400 cases per court. So we added them, that got us down to about 2,000. We're expecting to be up around the 2,300 mark per court again. If you look at that though, for us to be able to hear everything in the year that it comes in, so that it doesn't start developing a backlog in year two when another 23,000 cases come, that means we have to dispose of about 167 cases per month. If you break that down by day, it's 9. It really means we only have 53 minutes of time per case. That's terrible. So the good news is a lot of things are handled. We are heavy advocates for alternative dispute resolution. We think anytime parties can settle their own disputes without court intervention, they know the most about it. That's the best way for them to get a resolution. So we encourage that. Because if, as you can see here, if a trial, for instance, takes 3 days, then I've got to find 27 other cases that take pretty much no time. What this means is this job has become a kind of 24/7 kind of job. We sign warrants in the middle of the night. We have to sign orders and handle other dispositions after hours, because we generally dedicate most of our day to hearing the cases. I will add that even when we have an alternative dispute resolution, like a mediation or something, it still takes the court's time. A case cannot be finalized without a judge's signature on a final order, or even an order to dismiss the case because they've agreed to dismiss a case still requires the court's order. So I will tell you, there isn't a single case that ever gets disposed without something being done by the court. Something else that people aren't aware is that because of separation of powers and the Constitution and the way they have divided things at the county level, our judges are also in charge of the county auditor department, the county purchasing department, the county juvenile probation department and the juvenile detention center, the adult probation department. All of those things are overseen by the judges. And so those also take up all of the time that we're having to fit into a year. There's just hardly enough time to get it all done. And it's a constant battle and weighing on our part to try to make sure we give the things the time that they need, but don't then opt. You know, an example on this is if I even just double the time that I'm going to give somebody on trial, then that's going to add a year's delay. So that means instead of getting to everybody in 1 year, it's going to take me 2 years to get to you. So it's, I'll tell you, not a perfect scenario. We would all love to be able to give everybody as much time as they feel like they need, but we really have to heavily rely on alternative dispute resolution, docketing control measures, reasonable time limits that are imposed. We all feel pretty strongly. You may have heard William Gladstone's quote that justice delayed is justice denied. And as you know, people are often in jail awaiting their trial. COVID has had created a real problem for us for criminal trials. Every case that we could identify that reasonably would allow us to give them a PR bond or let them out of jail in some way that wouldn't endanger the public, we weighed every one of those cases, because putting 6 more months while we can't do jury trials is not something anybody was happy about doing. I'm going to skip over this, but basically it tells you that our case filings are up 7% year over year. So we can expect at least 7% as an average growth area on each of those 3 case types. And unfortunately right now, criminal is our highest growth area. So with our increasing population and just more people means more problems. And unfortunately, as our county becomes more urban and less rural, we're experiencing an increase in crime. The good news is, as an overall measure, we are really still one of the most, particularly in Plano, one of the safest, I think we're in the top 5, if not the top 3 safest communities for our size. So that's a real testament to Chief Drain and Chief Russian before him and the work that our Plano police do. So even though we've got a bit of an increase countywide in our crime levels, proportionate to our population, it's still very low, and it's still an extremely safe place for us all to live and work. I want to get into this now. If we could have Judge McCraw maybe talk a little bit about what we're doing during COVID, when we had to take all of our court hearings remote.
So thankfully, as Judge Thompson alluded to earlier, the courthouse is now all on electronic filing and electronic records. So we were able to, so we have access to those remotely. So what I'll tell you is that when middle of March hit and the whole world seemed to shut down, it was one of those things where everybody kind of went into a panic. And imagine being in a situation where you're quarantined in your home and it's not a or safe environment for those parties, whether it be the adults or the kids or everyone involved. And it was something that we took to heart. I will tell you, as soon as everything started shutting down, the district judges got together. We immediately were able to do a quick 180 pivot and were able to implement all of our hearings online and remotely through Zoom. And I will tell you, I'm proud to say that Collin County was a leader within the state for how things could continue operating. It was something that many of the other counties throughout the state looked to Collin County on how do we keep things running. We started doing everything that was an essential hearing via remote, and then quickly opened that up to almost all hearings remote. And so we've been able to continue disposing of and handling all of those hearings that we normally do at the courthouse. We've been able to continue doing those remotely. So not only is it keeping families and people within the community safe, but it's also giving people access to the courthouse in a safe and efficient manner. I will tell you, in the month of March, dispositions were right around 1,500. So amongst all the 13 district courts, we disposed of over 1,500 cases. And there were some months where those dipped a little. By June, July, and August, we're upwards into the 1,700 cases per month. I believe we're right on track for keeping the cases going. And that's just really important, because when people are panicking over what's going on out in the community with COVID and everything else, we wanted to make sure that they weren't concerned about legal cases and things like that. We are still getting everything moving. And I will tell you, we've had great results. There are some cases that we do have to have in person at the courthouse, especially things dealing with criminal matters, if somebody might need to go to jail. And as scary as COVID is, we want to make sure the members of the community are safe as well. So there are some things we are handling at the courthouse. I will tell you that we have taken matters into consideration so that we are only having certain courts have in-person hearings on certain days. That way we don't have a large number of people gathering within one small area of the courthouse. Jury trials got put on hold for a bit, and that wasn't due to us. That was due to a state mandate from the Office of Court Administration that came in and said no jury trials across the state unless you have authorized special permission. And so we have worked with the Office of Court Administration. We are now going to be going forward with jury trials. I will tell you, we're taking a lot of things into consideration. So if any of you are familiar with the courtrooms, normally we have a jury box that has 12 seats, or actually probably about 15 seats, but for a 12-person jury. We are now going to be having those juries seated in the gallery. So as you can see, this picture here on the bottom right with all the chairs, have some of them taped over, but that way we're able to place people in chairs, in some chairs, but able to keep them 6 feet apart. So we're able to keep those jurors safe. There are counsel where the attorneys sit and the parties sit. Those have been turned so that those the attorneys and the parties can face the jury, which is now out in that gallery part. There's plexiglass on the courtroom to keep everybody safe. And I will tell you, normally we have to bring, sometimes 65 people into a courtroom for jury selection. We are now going to be doing those jury selections in the central jury room. So it's a room that normally seats about 600 people. We're able to bring in a jury panel just per court. So it's around, if it is 65 people, we're able to safely distance everybody and keep them safe. So just a heads up, if you do get a jury summons, please don't panic. Please know that we've taken all of this into consideration. We're working with the health department, with the state officials, and with everybody we need to make sure that, again, people have their constitutional right to have a jury trial, but that we're doing it safely and not putting anybody at risk.
Thank you, Judge McCraw. A lot has changed with the Zoom. We would love to get back to normal, but I think this is our new normal for the foreseeable future. But like has been mentioned already, we're doing everything we can to make sure our community is safe while still administering to the needs that our community has for justice and to have their disputes heard. I'm gonna leave you with a funny little cartoon here about how things happen before and how they happen after. There's one upside to Zoom. When people are misbehaving in court, it's much easier now to just mute them. So we're gonna get out of this and see if we have any questions from anybody that we can answer. I think we're kind of right at time to end, but we have a couple extra minutes if we have some questions, if y'all do.
Actually, we're not going to be able to have any questions.
Okay.
We have run over. I apologize. But I want to say thank you to the 5 of you for having all 5 of you. You should know, to tell you how special this is. This is the first Zoom meeting that we've ever run over 1 o'clock. That's like, everybody in our club will tell you. I'm usually like, we're gone. But this was just, it was so interesting what you were saying, and you impact our lives. I mean, you guys, you protect all of us. What a tradition we have in our club, this is going to be a little unique because I didn't know who was going to be here, but what we do, we make a donation in the name of our speakers. So this is generic, but I'm going to be making the donation in each one of your names. So it's going to be 5 separate donations. So let me read it real quick. It's a certificate of appreciation. Normally we give it to you, but we're not. But in appreciation of your time and program, Plano West Rotary will donate $10 in your name to the Rotary Polio Plus Fund. Together with the 2-to-1 matching grants from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the one-to-one matching grants from the Rotary Foundation, that $10 turns into $40. And that will provide a polio vaccine for about 66 children. And because 3 of you are Rotarians, you know we just eliminated polio in the whole continent of Africa, which is phenomenal. And we only have 2 more countries left, Pakistan and Afghanistan. So we will make this contribution in your name, and we want to thank you very much for being our program. And so, round of applause, everybody.
Thanks, Alex.
So in closing, I would like to turn this over to Cole, who is going to lead us in the 4-way test. And before she does that, I need to do something else here. Are you ready, Cole?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
Okay. The 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Rotary.
Rotary.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a very wonderful day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.